Here's another person I'd like to introduce you to. His name is Mark Morgan Ford. He used to go under the pen name Michael Masterson, so you may have heard of that because he has written many books and programs on copywriting under that name. But now he goes under his own name, and he is another founder of AWAI and developed many of the principles we follow in our own writing. The first principle that he has always promoted is that there are 3 rules of selling. The first one is people don't like to be sold. The second one is people buy for emotional, not rational reasons. And then third, once sold, people need to satisfy their emotional decision with logic. We're going to go through each one of those. Think about a typical scenario when you go to buy a car. It's one of our most favorite things to do, right? Well, it depends on the approach of the salesperson. If a salesperson comes up to you and is very pushy and just says, I can see you in this car, isn't she a beauty? I know it's expensive, but it was made for you, and they just push it right on you, you're probably going to walk away and discuss, right? Now think of another scenario where a salesperson casually walks up to you and starts asking you about what you'd like. What do you want in a car? What are you looking for? And that is a much nicer approach because it's a listening and an intake approach versus shoving it in your face. So people definitely don't like to be sold. Now, the second rule is that people buy for emotional versus rational reasons. And let's look at a faucet scenario here. Everybody has a faucet in their home, right? The faucet on the right is your standard, off-the-shelf, $39 faucet that really will do the job for you. But the faucet on the left, now that is a beauty. That's like a $300 gold-plated fancy schmancy faucet. It does the same thing as the other one, but it's just so much more exciting. And as a homeowner, you want to show off how elegant your home is, and even the faucet is beautiful, right? That is an emotional buying decision, to buy that really expensive faucet when the cheaper one off the shelf will do. So let's show another scenario of that. We have shoes, for example. If you're someone who runs every day or is training for a marathon, you absolutely want to plunk down some money for a really good pair of shoes. But if you're just walking around, a lot of people buy fancy shoes just for the brand or the look or the coolness, and it's really unnecessary, but it's an emotional thing. They want to look cool. So you could buy a really expensive $175 shoe or a $15 shoe, which basically serve the same purpose if you're just walking around town in them. So again, there's an emotional decision to go ahead and buy that expensive brand. Now let's look at this scenario in B2B or business to business. A lot of decision makers, all of these things I'm talking about here apply to consumer marketing and business to business marketing, because after all, we're all people. And actually, Ryan Deiss, founder of Digital Marketer, says it's H to H, human to human. So always remember that when you're writing B2B copy. You're not supposed to be a corporate robot. Talk to the human person you're writing to. So here we have an example of an emotional headline for a B2B decision maker. They want a simple solution, and they want to recycle more as they have pressure, as a lot of companies do, to be more sustainable in their practices. So the headline is a simple way to recycle more. Great. But then they have to justify going with this company with logic. And that's where the right side of the copy comes in, where they say one container, multiple benefits, and then they go through each of the features and benefits that are more logical. Here's someone else I want you to meet, Bob Bly. He is one of the most prolific authors there is. He's written over 90 books now. But the thing that has been his specialty in the copywriting world is that he wrote many books on copywriting for print and online. His book, The Copywriter's Handbook, was a Bible for everyone at LL Bean when I worked there. We all had to read that book, and it was incredible. Then I got to meet him a couple years later at a boot camp, and now we're good friends, so happy to introduce Bob to you. You'll see him again and again through this program. His take on this is that a really good copywriter helps the prospect solve a problem or achieve a goal, no matter what the copy is about. It's going to either solve a problem or achieve a goal for the prospect. He says to do this, get attention. You have to do that. I'll show you how. Identify the prospect's problems. Again, we're going to show you how. Position the product as the best solution. And then prove the value of your solution versus others in the category. Prove the value. And then call to action, always, always, always. We're going to hit that home because you want to get the person to act. Doug Dana is another very successful copywriter, and he mainly works in the space of promoting journals, magazines, and that type of thing. But his number one secret is to know your audience. Find out what they want, and then make sure what you're selling matches what they want. It's that simple. I say it's that simple, but so many copywriters don't do this. So we're going to walk through the structure of that in a moment. So knowing your audience is key, and that's what we're going to look into next.